Good evening. How are you, ma'am?
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah, good, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining today, ma'am.
Um,
Yeah. So, everyone, today's topic will be kids' safety in the pandemic. So we'll be. I asked few questions yesterday. So whatever questions I got yesterday, ma'am, I'll be just asking you. You can answer, clarify the on questions, ma'am, for the followers. And before I start, I will introduce ma'am to everyone. So, Dr. Gayatri ma'am is a pediatrician, and she's done a special training in neonatal and pediatrics in for ICU especially. And right now, she is an assistant professor in SRM Medical College in Chennai as well. Ma'am, please, anything else you want to tell before we start the session, ma'am?
yeah, you covered most of the thing. There is I'm representing Ask Your Doctor team as such. We are just doing as a service for the as a free for all the public during this pandemic who cannot get a consultation or enter the hospital nearby. So.
Yes, thank you so much for all the service that you're doing, ma'am, and to the other doctors as well in your team. Yes, ma'am. And before we start, our first question was immunity. What are the immunity building foods that we can give for the child, ma'am?
So when we consider complete as a food, it's very important that protein is very important for the anyone, be it a kid or an elderly one. So it's going to produce as a immunoglobulin in the body, which immunoglobulin is actually the important thing that
Okay.
acts as a defense mechanism against any invasion. Okay, so it's like a soldier. Whenever an organism or something is getting in, so it acts as a soldier. So protein-rich
Okay.
food, I will definitely tell. So all the
Okay.
protein-rich food. For the egg or something like non-veg, we can say it as a egg, which is an index protein. And for the vegetarian, we can say all the pulses,
Okay.
and sprouted one. Okay, sprouted sundal, what we say. Then
Ma'am.
these paneer, all those things are protein-rich food. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
first immunity builder is the protein. Next,
Okay.
when we are getting into this fruits and vegetables as such,
Mhm.
what we get is that this micronutrients like vitamin C, iron, and then copper, magnesium, zinc. These are all very important, which we never take into consideration when we take as a food actually. So these are all rich in nuts and then fruits and vegetables. As such, for
Okay.
the immunity, antioxidants again very important. So this antioxidants is rich in citrus kind of fruits like lemon, Mosambi, all those things, sweet lime.
Okay.
So these
Okay.
are very rich, and tomatoes again going to play an important role. And being a summer season, we can just consider watermelon, papaya, all those into consideration for the fruits. And vegetables,
Okay.
it's always a green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
So it's
Okay, ma'am.
complete. All we require is that complete food plate is required. Whether we are
Okay.
taking only protein or only carbs or only fruits, it's not going to help you anymore. So it's like complete plate is required. Proportion of
Okay, a complete
carbohydrates.
meal, a full meal, especially, ma'am. That's
Exactly.
true. Okay, so when you were telling about eggs, ma'am, how many eggs per week a child can have, ma'am, especially?
Actually, it depends upon the age and the what is the weight of the child, how much is the eating capability. So whenever you
Okay,
take food, whenever you are going to ask me food, how much quantity, whatever the food is, whatever the child is taking is the quantity that required. So if you are going to
okay,
give the egg every day once, the child will get aversion and will not stop taking it after 4 or 5 days. So
yes, ma'am.
ideally for a malnourished child or someone like that, we would consider at least every alternate day you give egg. If you're not able to give
Okay,
egg, so consider equal replacement of the same amount of protein.
okay,
That is the ideal
okay,
thing. So
okay,
don't take only egg or only sundal is the main thing. So mix it
okay.
up everything. So give it in a varieties the child would like to have.
That's true, mom. Yeah, okay, mom. The next one was vitamin D, mom, because right now we're many of us are in apartments, especially where we are not even able to go outside to the terrace, just a small balcony or somewhere where there is not much of lighting and all. So, how much? What can we do for the child, especially for vitamin D, ma'am?
All right, all right. Actually, to be frank, vitamin D is not that rich in food or something like that. Only sunlight is the major source. Considering the pandemic, it's very difficult, but I don't give any supplements. I don't consider to give any supplements because we can make it like 15 minutes of outside, especially the timing like from 10 to 2 p.m. So this is the
Okay.
timing. The ultraviolet rays are very good for the vitamin D synthesis from our skin. So
Okay.
I'll tell that just go for putting a cloth or something in your terrace or balcony so that you won't stress the child also. They will be happy to handle the clips and others. So they will be coming
Yes.
with you. So for the 15 minutes, that would be fine. Be it like take it
Okay.
alternate day, not to go every day. So take it like alternate
Okay.
day.
Okay.
So that would be fine. Or take it
Okay.
somewhere
So,
on an isolated place in your apartment or something. You can go, like, at least stepping out for 15 minutes is not going to cost something. That too in an open space. I don't
okay.
think that
Okay,
much of
ma'am.
that is.
Okay. So many parents kept nearly 4, 5 questions were supplements or all these vitamin tablets, gummy bears for the kids. Is it really essential, ma'am?
I will not say that it's essential thing. So as far as we are considered, food is the best medicine. Food is the best source of any kind of immunity or any kind of energy. So what is the thing is that the childrens are not much. They are having some pickiness and they don't get too much of into the food. So I would say that give it in a fashion that the kids would like it rather than
Okay.
getting some gummies. And
Okay.
these supplements are like mainly meant for those who are really a deficient one. It's not going to
Okay.
help the healthy individual. Already a child who
Okay.
is like hale and healthy, having all kind of vitamins, it's not going to help them. So these are just a
Okay.
eye wash, and many of them would suggest for satiety or something like that, like appetite,
Okay.
increase appetite or something like that. So it's not going to help them actually. So
Okay.
only if there is a deficiency, I would suggest to give supplements, not in a form of
Okay.
gummies and in a proper formulation of the supplements. Otherwise, it's not
Okay.
required. Or if the child is recovering from some severe illness, once the pediatrician is thinking that supplements are required, only then. Apart from that, OTC is not going to help the child.
Okay, okay, mom. And the next one was, what is the reason for a child once they get up early in the morning or after a nap, they sneeze nearly 3 or 4 times once they get up. At the other time of the day, they're totally fine. Just after getting up from their nap, they sneeze. So what is the
All
reason,
right,
mom?
all right. So for this kid, I would like to have a detailed history because I would like to
Okay,
know what is the age of the child. Because pediatrics is always different for the newborn and for the adolescent or for some toddler group. So it's like completely different. So
okay,
I'd be want to know whether the family has some kind of allergic issue or asthma issue. With that, we can go what is the thing completely for the
okay,
child. If it is an adolescent or someone like about 10 years or something, every day morning the child is having continuous sneezing, I would consider having allergy as one of my differential diagnosis, not as a complete diagnosis still, because I cannot
okay,
tell that this is the only reason. So preventing any
okay,
allergen or some smoke that is going to trigger the child or like fomites or something which is present in the pillows or curtains, that may be the reason, and maybe
okay.
prevention of that would help them.
Okay, okay, mom. Yeah. And the next one was, what are the signs of learning disabilities that we as a parent should know and be cautious about, mom?
Okay. So I would tell all the parents that everyone is a good and like what should I say? Every child is a special one. So we need not think about that as a first thing. We as a pediatrician usually ask for all this thing and assessment at the time of vaccination. Okay, so where if you are still more concerned in this pandemic, we cannot go for a vaccination or something like that, and you are more concerned, then I would say that if the child is behaving very bizarre, like not laughing, not giving eye contact, and if the child is having some language delay, that is a language delay is defined something very different actually. So for example, we say that at 6 months of age, the child should say ma, ba, like that, single word, monosyllable we say. Okay. And by around 12 months, we'll be saying like bisyllable has to be coming, like mama, papa, dada, all those. These two words should be coming. So if the child is not attaining at 12 months, is that a significant delay? If you ask me, that's really not a significant delay. So each one is considered as different, but still we take the cutoff as 1.5 year. By 1.5 year, the child is not having even a single letter word, ma, ba, da, even that is not coming. And if the child is not able to communicate, communication, it can be in any form, not by the voice. It can be by pointing index also. So it will show like this. I want something like that they will show. So that means that the gesture is there for the child. So that doesn't mean the child is having some learning or speak language disabilities. Okay. So all this has to be considered. First thing is the eye contact, and the child never hears to you. Even at 2.5 to 3 years of age, even the parents cannot have a hold on that. Parents or the caregivers. I mean, parents are caregiver because most of the time parents are outside and the caregiver will be somebody else. So if they are also having some complaint, and if there is more than 1 or 2 incident occurring in more than 1 or 2 places, that is, be it home, be it outside, that is in the school also, the child is coming with lots of complaints and the child cannot sit at one place. When asked to, like, it's very difficult for a 3-year-old or 2-year-old to ask and complete a task for 15 or 20 minutes. Be it, it is very difficult. But even then, when compared to peers, when this child cannot do, then we should consider all these things.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So the next one was, what are the essential things like medicine based, not just syrups and all that, medical devices or something that we have to have for a child especially, ma'am?
Okay. So for a child, it's very simple. A thermometer is always required. I would say that thermometer is always required, and the important medicines is required. Otherwise, nothing else is required to be kept at home. Even the pulse oximetry, all those things are not going to help the child. Maybe adolescent one, like 15 to 18 years, they may get benefit from that, not the kid as such.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. And next, Kabasura Kudineer. Can we give it to a child? And if yes, how much can we give it, ma'am?
Okay, actually, even from the last year, we are getting all these questions actually. So even I'm not sure about that. So I went and asked to one of the Siddha doctor, and they said like government one. So they said that from the government implication, they are giving above 2 years. So whatever the preparation on whatever the make that has to be made for the adult, 1/3 of the dose can be given for the child. But I would say that it's not like completely like something like fever medicine or something like that. So I would say that before giving, what is the indication? Is there any comorbidity for the child is there or not? So all these to be taken into consideration. If a child is already suffering from renal disease or something, if you are giving a load to some drug that is going to cause additional effect to the kidney, then it is not considered. So always take a medical advice before taking any medication. That's the better one.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. And vaccination, ma'am. How long can we delay and a regular vaccine because of this pandemic if they're not able to go or if they're afraid of going to an hospital, ma'am?
Actually, last year we delayed a vaccination bit, but consequences of that was disastrous actually. So we cannot handle two situations, that is a pandemic and the infectious disease, which is also going to come because of the lack of vaccination. So I would say that the vaccine that is happening at 6, 10, 14 weeks should be taken on time. That's very important. And there are certain vaccines that can be delayed. Like if a vaccine for the first dose, if you are giving, and that vaccine can be delayed like month or something. Last year we have suggested few of them that you come after the pandemic, we can have the vaccine, but they never turned up, and they came again in the next pandemic when they are coming for some illness. They said like, we missed all the vaccines because of the pandemic. Almost a year gone with that. So I would suggest that you just get back to the hospital or your pediatrician for the vaccines once the lockdown is lifted or something, or take a separate appointment. Because we pediatrician have started something like that, that vaccine slot or timing will be separate from the one who is having the illness. So no other caretaker will be given, and the fever clinic will be separate, and those patients will be kept separate. So thereby decreasing the contact with the among the people, and the disease also we are just trying to reduce it. So you just take a separate slot so that you need not get mixed up with the thing. Another important thing is that you wear a face mask and you get the allotment timing, and you can stay inside the hospital. Let the child stay outside with a mother or somebody else, so that once your turn is coming, you can get in again. Only at that time the child can be exposed. And we are actually having a variety of face masks for the kids also. If less than 2 years, the child who is not willing to wear a mask, we are having a variety of face masks too. So I would suggest that wear something like that and go back for the extra precaution. So it's better not to delay the vaccine. It's very important to take the vaccine. So we cannot handle two situations together. So it's better to take the vaccines on time.
Okay, ma'am. So when we are talking about mask, ma'am, is it essential for a child also to wear double mask, ma'am, or single mask?
See, actually, it's again a tricky question. So when we are all masked up, the child is eventually protected. When we are all open up to the mask, and child is actually like exposed to the COVID. So I would suggest, like below 5 years, it's very difficult to keep the child wearing a mask. So all these kind of Mickey Mouse and some dolls, Peppa Pig, these are going to come for our rescue actually. So what happens is that no need of wearing double mask. So let us all mask up ourselves and have a hand sanitizer along with us, so that child will be safe, and whoever coming outside will also be safe also. Okay. So below 5 years, it's very difficult. If the child is able to wear, that's different. Fine.
Okay,
if below 2 years, we cannot wear, we cannot force the child to wear a mask. It's okay, and you can get a face shield instead of that.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, okay, ma'am. And the next one was heat rashes because of the summer climate, ma'am. So what can we do, especially in what we shouldn't do, ma'am?
Okay, so actually what we think is that just like for us adult, we use all this prickly heat powder and all those things. I would say that not to have all those powders. Don't add anything upon that, because it's going to close up the pores and it's going to aggravate the rashes rather than it's going to decrease it. So it's better not to wear any lotion, anything beyond like if it is very itching or something like that, a calamine lotion would help, come for a rescue. Otherwise, it's not going to. Okay, so that is very important. For the summer, wear a very light and cotton cloths. That's very important. If the child is put on a bed or in a cradle or whatever, so make sure that the one that is below the child is going to lie down in the bed. So the cloth should also be very cotton and very flimsy, so that it is not going to hurt the back of the child. Okay. So that would help them.
Okay, ma'am. So especially many people, once they see a heat rash or something, they apply oil. Especially oil also closes the
Not required. Not required. It's not going to help them. It's better to have a calamine lotion, so that the itchiness of the rash per se will be decreased, so that the child will also not keep on scratching it. Actually, scratching the rashes is going to perpetuate the rashes again. So it's better not to do that. So to soothe that, you can use a calamine lotion, not coconut or anything.
Okay, ma'am.